everybody, Jesse from SlotCityFishing. I'm gonna do something a little bit different today. Our pace is starting to pick up a whole lot, like the amount that we're fishing. I'm starting to volunteer with this organization called Heroes on the Water, where we take out veterans to go kayak fishing. I'm starting to fish tournaments now, so look out for tournament videos. And then me and my brothers, we're gonna go on a kayak fishing trip to South Louisiana, Grand Isle, and for about 3-4 days, so it's gonna be sweet. But since I'm picking up pace, I wanna make sure that my gear is as good as possible. So I got my 2 Hobie Outbacks, and I'm gonna show you how you can upgrade them and make them just as good as a brand new Hobie Outback for significantly cheaper. So let me start out by saying, do not buy a new kayak, ever. Don't do it. Pedal drive kayak, do not, because people are always selling them. They get into the sport and then they get out of it, or they get injured. You know, you can find them really, really cheap. My 2 Outbacks, I got the red one for $800 and the gray one I got for $200. So I got a whole bunch of accessories and we're gonna put them on, and I'll show you like before and after how you can make a cheap old school Hobie, like ones that don't have the vantage seat on it, and you can make it into a killer rig and save thousands of dollars. So go ahead and jump into it. All right, so I'm gonna show you my 2 Hobies. They're both the old year group. I don't know when it started, but I think the gray one's really old. It's around 2008, and I think this one might be around 2010 or 2012 or something. It's the body style right before they swapped over to the ones that have the vantage seat. But I just want to illustrate to you guys how you can go out and scoop up these kayaks for really, really cheap. All right, we'll start off with this Bungee. It's dry rotted right there. All right, then we got this replacement Bungee. I probably paid way too much for this. You'd probably be better off just buying some old bungee cords or something, like a really long one. But I was a sucker too. It was right in front of my face and it was convenient, so that's what I got. I got these D-rings. They were $4. So we'll start out by tying a knot and this, and I'm just using a simple what's this knot called? Square knot. So that's one side. So we'll mark this. Take that out, tie that same square knot, or yeah, square knot. All right, next upgrade we're gonna do is the seat. And if we don't like it, I got this one at West Marine, and their return policy is money. So if we don't like it, we can just return it. And we're kind of just trying to get a rough set of how we want this right now, and we'll actually like really adjust it once it's installed. All right, the big deal though is we need the seat to be secure back here, so I'm gonna have to drill in 2 pad eyes. Oh yeah, now that's not going anywhere. Sweet. I'm gonna back these out and put some marine epoxy or silicone on there. Alright, seat's done. I'm gonna put these gear tracks on here pretty soon, but before I do that, I want to get this crate going. I'm gonna mount these PVC pipes on the outside. This would have functioned totally fine, and really I should probably be saving time and doing stuff that actually really matters, but I do kind of want this to look cool, so I moved all the PVC pipe rod holders to the outside, and that's because I got that Yak Gear waterproof bag, and we're gonna use this as our gear stowage. So I'm gonna go spray paint this thing black, that way it looks cool. Boom, so there's that. Got the seat in. I got all my rod holders back here. All right, so now we're putting in our map cases. You just want to start these screws and then snug it with a screwdriver, because if you fasten them with a drill, you could strip out that hole, and that's what's making it watertight. All right, so there's our map cases. All right, put on another handle. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and start putting some of these accessories into the kayak. This is fish sticks. It's just a bump board. All right, next I got some pliers from Walmart. Then I zip tied this lanyard to it and zip tied it to this handle I just put on, and put it inside the map case. Now we never have to worry about not having a set of pliers with us. Alright, now we're going to put on these gear track mounts. I'm going to lose these rod holders up front, but I don't really care because I don't really trust them anyway. The only time I ever put a rod in there is if I need to put it down for a second. I would never put a rod with bait inside those rod holders. Alright, so we drilled out this first hole, and we're going to set a screw in it. That way it won't move while we're doing the other ones. Alright, so we got our first hole started. Now we're just going to go down the line. Alright, so now we're going to get into the fish finder installation, which is the part I'm the most excited about. So I have the Humminbird 598 CI HDI, or HD with side imaging. Scotty makes a universal base for this. I'll link it in the description. So my base is attached to it. You're gonna have to use a little punch outs on the back to get your wires to sit through it. And then that's gonna go onto this part. It's another Scotty mount. It's a transducer mount, so this will go on here. This will attach to the rail, and then the transducer will go through and attach to here, and then it's just going to hang off the side of the kayak like that. And then you can adjust the depth of your transducer. The reason I went with this one, a lot of you are going to say, well, you can just glue the transducer inside of the kayak. Yeah, you can do that, but if you do that, you're going to lose side imaging. Down scan will work. Through hole, if you epoxy or silicone it down at the bottom, but side imaging will not work. The transducer has to be in the water, and then also you won't get an accurate water temperature if your transducer is not in the water. Alright, so go ahead and get going on this install. This kit doesn't come with hardware, so I'm using hardware off of an old skateboard. Another thing that I found with this Scotty mount is it doesn't work with that base unless you put a spacer in it. So I bought 4 washers. I'm gonna shim it out. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. Alright, and we'll see if our shim, yeah, it's in. Sweet. And then to get that off, you just pull that out. Alright, next we'll mount the transducer. That's the battery cable. We're gonna have to drill through the hole, make a spot for that to go.
We'll do that next. Alright, so there's our transducer mounted, and now we're just gonna coil up these cables and make them clean looking. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and mount the fish finder. This is just some dielectric grease, so this will make it to where it's really good and corrosion resistant. Alright, now we're gonna zip tie all of our cables nice and neat. So now we got the transducer and the fish finder mounted. Now we're gonna go into running the battery wires through the hole and doing the battery box. Alright, to run the wiring through the hole, we're going to use this Wilderness Systems through-hole wiring kit. Let's hope I can reach this damn thing. And then we're just going to thread this on the back of that. And that's a wrap on that part. Alright, for the battery box, we're going to lay down some pool noodles on the bottom of the hole, and then we're just going to drill 2 holes and then zip tie it to the sailing mast. I see a lot of people making their battery boxes waterproof, but it's going inside the hull of the kayak. So if you got water going into the inside of your kayak, you got bigger things to worry about than your battery. So cut up this pool noodle just enough so the battery tray will sit on it on the bottom of the kayak. Alright, so now we'll set down the noodles and then zip tie this back up through. Now we're just going to sit the battery in, and we're going to stuff this with pool noodles around it so the battery will stay in the same position. Alright, we're going to hook up our battery now with some contact grease on there. Alright, so updates, we put this light in. It actually worked friggin' perfectly, dude. It's battery powered, and I lanyarded it to my bungee, and this has a clip and it fits. It's like super coincidence, but it's like the exact same diameter as that PVC pipe. Alright, now we're just gonna install the gear track, same as we did on that side, on this side. Now we're putting on a few more accessories. Sweet. Alright, so we got the mount, the light, and that's so I can move the rod holder back and forth. Now we're going to do this Yak Attack anchor trolley. Alright, so now we're working on our anchor trolley. We put the pulleys in. I hit it with silicone pretty hard just because it's on the outside and close to the water line, so these pulleys may not spin freely, but it doesn't really matter. They're going to move through that groove anyway. I'd rather have it watertight. Boom, anchor trolley installed. Looks pretty good too. Alright, so we just swapped out the old rudder. This is the sailing rudder. That makes a big difference when you're turning, and it's pretty cheap. Alright, so we just put our catch bag in. This is the Ice Mule 32-inch. I mostly do inshore fishing, so the biggest fish typically that you can catch around here is like a big red, and the biggest one is like that you can keep legally, I think, is 28 inches. I'll have to double check on that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. So this will definitely be able to bag that. And then to secure it to the yak, we just used the strap that it came with, wrapped it back around on itself, and secured it with these D-rings. So you can see that's not going anywhere. It might move around some, but it's definitely not coming off the yak. But there you go. That makes it to where you don't got to carry a cooler. Alright, next upgrade is the deep hatch bucket. You can buy it, comes with a lid, but I don't use it because this lid is waterproof right here. Crank that down, and boom. Now you got a place to stow all your tackle. Alright, next upgrade is gonna be for your anchor. All right, so we got the anchor trolley installed now. I'm gonna show you a cool thing my buddy taught me how to do your anchor line, because this will get into a huge mess like it is right now if you're not careful with it. All right, so this is a hand line spool. What we're gonna do is spool this anchor line up onto this hand line. That way we have a really easy way to stow it quickly. Boom, so now your anchor is on your anchor line. And what I'm gonna do is just put it around this. All right, next little piece of kit. This is Hobie's first aid kit, like survival gear. Some of it's kind of old, but it'll probably still work. It's got some signaling devices in it, like mirrors and flares and stuff like that. And some first aid and survival stuff like water. It has a thermal blanket, Swiss Army knife. Pretty good thing to have when you're out there. You never know what could happen. You could get injured and be by yourself. Just always be careful out there. But I never really used this back hatch, so it's a perfect place to stow that. All right, last thing we're gonna do is put some freaking sweet stickers on here. The most important accessory that you can have is your PFD. All right, man, that wraps it up. Real quick, show you everything that we did just to recap. Sailing rudder, survival kit, LED position lighting, makes you Coast Guard compliant at night. Did the anchor trolley. We did the bungee. We spray painted the crate black, moved the rod holders to the outside. This came with the yak that I bought for 200 bucks. Put that waterproof bag in there. These rod holders came with this red yak when I bought it. So we did our anchor, stowed that inside the PVC, and I'm hoping that it kind of ballasts, because I got a lot of weight on that side, so I purposely put that on this side. That way maybe it'll keep the weight distributed evenly. All right, so pad eyes for the bungee. We made our own anchor line with the hand line spool. Put in a new seat. We drilled the pad eyes back there for that. I put on a new handle. It already had one. I put in 2 map cases. We put in the deep bucket. I bought that. I bought the seat. I bought these map cases. I pulled this handle off my other Hobie. We swapped out the turbo fin, or the ST fins, with the little black fins. We put on the 2 gear tracks. I did the whole fish finder transducer mount thing with all the wires run through the hole watertight to that battery box. And gear track, the rod holder. This is the Railblazer. I'm not sure which one it is, but it's pretty cool. You put your rod in there and you just turn it, and that's not going anywhere. Forward position light, you can also use that for a light. It's 360, will illuminate everything. I'm hoping, I purposely put it right there too to give me some light for the sensor in my GoPro. When I'm shooting low light, hopefully it'll light me up better. And we put the gear track on that side. We can move this rod holder over to that star port if we want. Then we did our whole battery box configuration. I'm probably gonna go back and do some more stuff to this later, like zip tie this down into there, because it can still move. If for some reason the kayak were to tip upside down, that battery would fly out. Not the end of the world. And like I said earlier, if that happens, then you got bigger things to worry about than your battery. And we put on the fish bag. Oh, and of course the stickers, man. That's how we're gonna catch a bunch of those fish. I can feel it. All right, then the only other things that we got to do is put on our other accessories that I've been using, and that's the net. We'll stow behind the seat and secure it onto our bungee right here. That way you can grab it from either side. It'll be good to go. And then our drift chute, we'll fold this up and stow it and put it inside of our dry bag. This is my favorite accessory if you don't have one already. Drift chute. It's got this weight in the bottom. You connect it with a carabiner to your anchor trolley, then you can move it back and forth. I don't know if you guys saw this, but you move your anchor all the way down to the front of the kayak. Boom. Here you go, man. So I think everything turned out really, really good, man. I'm definitely very happy with it. And my first time doing anything major like this, so I'm definitely pretty proud of it.
Alright, so we're all done, man. If you like this, the how-to tutorial type stuff, hopefully you learned something. Hopefully I convinced you not to buy a new kayak, because you're wasting money if you do. Like if you buy an H crate from Hobie, you're wasting your money, dude. Use an old milk crate, use PVC pipes. You know, it doesn't have to be pretty. It's, if you go out there and you catch the biggest fish, you won. Even if you're on, you know, the cheapest kayak out there. So anyway, like, sub, comment. Hope you guys are enjoying the content. We're still growing crazy fast, and that's thanks to you guys. So really appreciate y'all, man. But tight lines. See you guys on the water.